This just in! Putin puts the brakes on the 2-week military operation in Ukraine. Has he defeated the threat of Holy Jerusalem? Or is he sewing it into the fabric of the map as we speak? Zelensky MIA as the clock ticks on the deal. Will he return from the Amsterdam brothel in time to tackle the tasks set before him? Or is Ukraine without lifeline or leader? Let's find out, folks. Only time will tell. We rest atop a towering monolith of decision, looking up at the Oort cloud of possibility. I had a dream where they're putting Squid Game toys in Happy Meals. That was a dream, right? They're not actually doing that, right? That was a dream, right? That was a dream, right? Pretty sure that was a dream. The adrenal fatigue situation is insane, bro. So sleepy. But yeah, I'm working with my coffee intake to try and get my energy back in line. It's rough. It's rough. You know, you really take things for granted when you're in your 20s. And we took things for granted in general in the 90s and 2000s, but you really take things for granted when you're in your 20s, and then the 30s roll around and just like you take a little bit too much caffeine, you drink a little bit too much alcohol, whereas in your 20s it's just like moving through it. Still not recommended. Just wait till it rains. I'm gonna go bonkers. I'm gonna go bonkers. I'm gonna go crazy style. I love it when it rains. I get so much energy when it rains. When it's about to rain, I hate it when it teases it. When it's about to rain, I get a lot of energy. When it rains, I get a ton of energy. I really want to get out of the habit of talking about how much I hate Dodge Ram and Rice Rockets. If somebody ran all my shows through an LLM, it would spit out in front, above the bell curve, is a podcast focused on observation and dissection of events past and present. The host, Nate Matthews, often criticizes Dodge and Zionism. But, like, they really are the worst. Ford is the distinctly American truck company these days. They're the #1 auto manufacturer in the United States. They managed to, through a lot of the deportation of jobs and dissolution of factories, maintain a more local base of production than any of the other companies by far. And they used to co-own that particular title of America's #1 truck company with Chevy. Ford was always great. Ford was a great man. Like Walt Disney was a great man, and he set up his company to run more honorably in the long term. Dodge brothers are Zionist creeps. And their company, Stellantis, created the giant truck trend that every company had to match to create non-lethal crash compatibility for other trucks that now just destroy anything that they run into. And the trucks suck. It's a big thing. The trucks suck. Some of the top-end models coast on the magnificence of Cummins diesel engines, but the rest are compensation devices with zero style that are so heavy, like the electric vehicles, that they're breaking our current infrastructure. And like electric vehicles, breaks down 2 times quicker than Ford or Chevy, and 3 times quicker than Toyota. The real working man's vehicle, Toyota. It's a disgusting waste of resources that started in 2022 along the same time a bunch of other Zionist chicanery and crap. They market for the people who want to plow their vehicles through Christmas parades and men with micro penises, you know, kind of a Venn diagram there. The regular Dodges have names like Hellcat and market to drug dealers. They're all unnecessarily loud and smelly. The designs are ugly and bricky. The price tag ain't even worth it. Even if it was discounted, it's never worth it. Although I did drive a Caliber back in the day, and I enjoyed that a lot. I enjoyed the space. I don't see Dodge creating a lot of stuff like that anymore. It was weird when they had, what was it? David Spade advertise the Dodge Caliber. That was one of the weirdest, commercials from like 10 years ago. It was very strange. So I'm a big fan of the Noah story, right? But in retrospect, it's kind of a way to normalize inbreeding as natural with all the animals, only two animals left, so all the stock comes from those animals that were inbreeding. It's kind of a zoo analogy, and it does share scientific basis with the fact that there was multiple great floods, and in certain areas, some conservationist efforts likely integrated some form of floating zoo somewhere along the line. But in general, where it takes the heroes and stuff like that, after the lessons are learned from the old ways of doing things that caused the flood, which is good lessons to be learned. It's like Sodom and Gomorrah predate a great punishment because like the consequences of people's actions stack up, and their environment and their society, the consequences of the actions of the society spare no prisoners. And so it takes a real maverick to do something. It's more of an analogy for Abrahamism in general, as a breakaway from Canaanitism, which is just evil, just pure, unadulterated evil that was destroyed by more noble systems than it in Christianity and Islam. But not before it came back to bite a lot of the native people. The Edomite Pharisees came to ruin their own burgeoning philosophical movements. It's not our fault. It is not our fault, I'll tell you that much. They'll just blame everybody on the entire planet, from the Chinese to some Pacific Islanders to the Americans, Native Americans, and other Americans. They'll blame everybody. You'll unlock the cage that they were put in by, some Croatian, and then they'll blame you. So just like, seriously, it is such a headache seeing intelligent people think, well, I'll just coast on this and get some scratch for a little while. Nah, man, your reputation's going to take a huge hit if you're actually genuinely, seriously Zionist. It will. It will straight up take a huge hit, because people aren't stupid, and people can detect that there is a moral evil and a moral good. Yes, it's a binary, ooh. But at the end of the day, people feel that in their souls. It's deeply ingrained in all of our stories and our culture. Not this everything is permissible crap that only like the newest of Talmudists have been trying to pass off. And the express researched reason why they're trying to do that is to undermine all the borders in society, all the borders in culture, all the borders in particular peoples, in order to infiltrate and subvert and rule over them, as per the Talmudic prophecy of holding all the wealth in their hands, which will never happen, but it's very likely the reason why they're destroying so much. It's because they know they can't hold it in their hands, so they're just going to kill people. They're going to kill people, they're going to intimidate other people, they're going to trick people, they're going to bribe people, and then what's left will be something to at least pretend that they got, an up on somebody, but the long-term consequences of that behavior is being banned from 110 different countries and having people view you as an objectively immoral force in the world. Not Jews, unlike the Zionists that like to take away the free will of their brothers and sisters, but Zionists, who themselves are one of the most malignant forces this world has ever seen. All right, good rant for today. Just finishing touches. I got to do a little bit of research into the Phoenicians real quick, and I'll have that out probably tomorrow. Oh, my back hurts. Getting out of my depressive spell. Sorry about that. It is what it is, We all go through it. I had a friend who just went through a depressive spell recently, last week too. I wonder if there's something in the air. Speaking of which, they just had 3 launches in the last 2 days. Sure got a lot of money to blow junk into space, don't they? That's not waste, fraud, and abuse. Yes. It gets a little petty when you start talking like that. The entire thing is petty. The entire thing is pay. And don't think that Elon Musk is like an Illuminati super soldier because he goes like this. This is just what people do with their fingers. When they're trying to assert dominance in a situation. That's a psychological body language thing. When people are trying to assert domination over their own bodies and their immediate surroundings, they will steeple their fingers. And I've heard people say, in general, uh, err on the side of caution when people are steepling their fingers and talking aggressively. That is actually really good advice. There are times for doing that yourself, and then there are times for interlocking your fingers, and then there are times for smacking your knuckles together, Get it right. When I was on Twitter for those couple of months, I followed Edward Habsburg, the Hungarian ambassador to the Vatican. He's a Novus Ordo guy, but what really got me to go ew and unfollow him was his proclivity towards anime. Apparently he really likes anime, and that's... No! Anime people will have... All the anime avatars will have their own rating in my tier list, and you could probably guess what that. Spoilers. Eurasia is wild. That's the steppe of southern Russia, if you didn't know. Thousands of miles, 3 separate and distinct regions, all connected in the rocky green barren where horses roam wild. Are you Yamnayan, Indo-European, Hun, Mongol, Turk, Russian? You owe so much to this region. This is where the shamans were born, from where the druids of the Celts would be influenced, from where the Ainu of Japan and the totemists of the Americas would originate. This is where the technology from China would drift westward to be reconstructed by Europeans. This was the seat of the world's largest nation, the Mongol Empire, which would touch every corner of civilization. Oxen and chickens would travel west on this rocky road. It's something to note. It's very important. And to know why Aryan was a term used by the Germans when they were trying to tap into the concept of the Indo-European, which is a pretty valid concept based on all the studies that I've seen, and the canonical events of humanity. It makes a lot of sense. Now, of course, there are people that say, never ever have the European people traced any lineage from India. We got all of our technology from aliens. You know what, bro? I'm not going to slop your slime, but your whole, one drop makes you colored shtick, it's really, really beat. Please show people your 23andMe before you start talking like that. Some of those racist people that you know, they're like 5% sub-Saharan African, like 15%, Hispanic. some of the most racist people that you know. So keep that in mind. Be consistent. Be honest. At least try. None of us are perfect. We all get things messed up. I myself get things wrong 10, 15% of the time. And hopefully I get it wrong in such a way that allows people to form context clues to understand what was trying to be said or to figure out the puzzle themselves. Because I try to be a relatively accurate, truth-telling individual. I try. But so far, I can't detect any and this is the crazy thing, I can't detect any non-European admixture in my blood, other than, and I do not consider this, but I'm 0.5% Finnish. So if you consider Finnish Asian because of the Finno-Ugric connection, whatever, dude. I consider Finns to be as Western as a Frenchman, as Western as an Englishman, as Western as a Scotchman. They are a true... The Finnish people are a true Scotsman. They knew for a fact what Bolshevism was, what communism was. They fought tooth and nail to bite back the USSR. They're some of the most impressive and kind people in Europe, and I consider them to be distinctly European. Okay? So, don't get it twisted. And in that, 99.5% Western admixture, listen, man, there's nothing drastically different for me and a Chinese person, for me and an African person, for me and a Native American person. You got some skull shapes, yeah. But in general, we're all generally the same. And even especially now down the road, like after things have been intermingled for thousands of years before, whatever thing that you think that the New World Order is doing to mix people up, which I've seen a lot of people range of opinions about this, saying that the New World Order is trying to create like a South Park Goobacks situation all around the entire planet. In general, it doesn't matter. What matters is culture. What matters is diet. What matters is mentality. That's what matters. Like, if China is going to be a more moral force than the United States, I believe personally China deserves to be the world economic hegemon. And I'm just a good catfish on the bottom of the pond with the whiskers that can detect earthquakes coming from far away. I'm just a good dowsing rod. I'm a good antenna for the regular people. I'm really good at predicting trends. I'm really good at tapping into what you consider a common core in any given culture based on just thinking about it over a period of time. And let me tell you, like, racism's kind of shot out. Racism is a lame tool that I've traced the most destructive people on the planet, like Zionists, to employ the most. Like, it's cool to study like R1B haplogroups and stuff like that. It's cool to study that. The more you study wait a minute, R1B, that is like pure Western European, also resides in West Africa, Cameroon, and Niger? Really? Yes. Because things aren't as simple as I can see it, the skin color, and I can make my immediate prejudiced decision right there on the spot. Speaking of weird, insane stuff, there was an insane Yiddish man named Mark Rothko who painted literally uneven, just stupid looking rectangles. And the artificially inflated art market values them at tens of millions apiece. This stupid thing that looks like somebody just took a roller and like slapped it on very lazily, worth like 50 million pounds or euros, probably pounds. That was just scratched by a kid who obviously in his heart looked at that, determined no value, and decided to run his fingers across it as if it were like a poorly painted mural on the outside of George Floyd on the outside of a building. Like, in his heart, he could determine, or she, I'm not sure, could determine that painting wasn't worth anything. Yet the Talmud is held aloft by usury alone, and so it has to be hyperinflated. It has to be worth a tremendous amount, while paintings that a child would look at with beauty and awe would be worth, a couple thousands of dollars. It is what it is, It's conundrums of this life. All right, y'all, this is a good episode for today. Cheers.